Greetings and salutations, internet denizens. This is Wolffoetowtech, the very, very forgetful goofball that played this game once before, but I'm suffering from this bad case of I cannot remember how I solved. Yeah, I know. I'm finding stuff in super obvious spots that I already walked past 20 times. I feel dumb. I'm having too many of those moments where I pass up stuff that is really obvious. I've already been up here before. In a previous video, I even walked past as the solution to one of the problems I'm on right now. Seriously, I'm a numbskull. See, I walk past this. This door right here. My camera sits right at the bottom of the screen, so sometimes I literally don't see. I literally do not see the doors. I'm a numbskull. Legend of Zelda's equivalent of a like. Not Legend of Zelda's equivalent of a mimic. Just stick an enemy inside a treasure chest. It's actually right there, or right on this ledge on the other side of this wall. I'm just digging because I'm a numbskull, and I like to dig. Also, there's a hole there to throw bombs in. Well, screw that. Oh, yes, actually, I have a pineapple. And I know where to take that at. Animal Village. I think it's... Or it could be that hole way up there. And I drowned. Of course, this is the passage that lets you get out of here. Just push the rock and boom. Remember, always pick up Crazy Tracy's special secret medicine before going into a dungeon or any place you do not know anything about. Incidentally, if I walk off that ledge, I also lose another heart chunk. And on to this dungeon. Should be level 4 Angler Dungeon. Level 4 Angler Dungeon. Give me a moment. Now, let's take on the Angler Dungeon. But first, I'm going to shovel. Because you know me, I walk into a place and I start shoveling. I know where almost all the treasures are in this game. It's just that I'm so absent-minded, I'm amazed that I can get anywhere. You know? The Angler Dungeon is interesting as it is notorious for having literally one of the weakest bosses in all of Legend of Zelda history. Got that room. Got that room. I kind of like to just walk around and look at all the rooms. And there's the beak. It's always handy to have that beak. And then there's the map. Angler Dungeon is weird because it's just one of those dungeons where so much of the stuff is just out in the open and you could literally see most of the dungeon. I went with more attack power just because as I can end into them faster. However, I'm completely lacking in a removable pommel, so I cannot end them rightly. But, you know, you can't have everything, you know? Interestingly enough, if I was working for Nintendo, as I said, you get the beak, you get the map, and you get the compass pretty much right off the bat in this dungeon. This is actually probably one of the simplest dungeons there is in Legend of Zelda. Usually when you get a water dungeon, they're usually the hardest ones. However, I've never really had trouble with dungeons. The only time I've ever had any form of difficulty in a Legend of Zelda game as far as dungeons are concerned, and I'm gonna be serious about this, is when I was a kid, I couldn't read for shit. And because I could not read, I could not progress very far in certain situations. This is just one of those dungeons where you go down one path, you hit a dead end. There's items here and there or in the ends that you can grab that help you out as you go along, but you really do need certain stuff. It's sort of like you move through one section of the dungeon, acquire a bunch of stuff, and then you have to come back. Yeah, that sound one threw me off. Throwing magic powder on them affects them. Turns them into fairies. This is one of those dungeons where you need your bombs and your magic powder all over the place. Old-fashioned pea hats. It was kind of funny back in when the first time you come across a pea hat in Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. The sort of that oh shit moment that you get. Kinda have to make a point of killing all the enemies in a dungeon. Yeah. Oops. So now I have 2 keys. I dead-ended that path. That's kind of just how this dungeon works. You just... Yeah, that falling sound effect, it really throws me. By the way, the shovel is one of the most awesome items you can ever have. And in so many Zelda games, they take it away from you. It's irritating. And sad. That's the dungeon key. I think you lose the shovel, specifically so you can specifically get the boomerang, which is an essential tool against the nightmare at the end of the game. However, otherwise the stupid boomerang is pretty much the most useless item in the game. The boomerang and the arrows are largely in that family of... Yeah, see, the pea hat is not going anywhere. And I just kind of make it a habit of destroying all the enemies. You know what? I keep saying to myself, you're not going to find anything. And I find a rupee, and I find a heart, and I find this and that. Always the hardest one to jump is verticals. Of course. The glint of the tile will be your guide. The inability to swim is a big barrier in this dungeon. They kind of just let you look into little areas and say, yeah, I can get over there at some point. So that's a puzzle for swimming. Oh, sure. Shoot at me. This is just one of those dungeons where you're basically just looping on stuff a little bit. You work one way out, you come back into the center, you go back, work your way out, go to another section. Yeah, see the fun? As I said before, this whole dungeon is like that. Oh. Made him a little harder. The best little loop you can get him into. No, no, no! And I got the flippers! And now, the dungeon is my plaything. The flippers are the true key to this dungeon. Now where to what I want to go to. Room to this. One-eyed thwomps. You know, one-eyed thwomp. Takes a little bit of work to master that jump timing. And there's the dungeon monster key. The big key for all this big stuff. Yes, that rock has keyhole. It's basically just making your way back around on the dungeon. That's actually probably the funnest part right there, you know. Pushing enemies into the water that once killed you. You know, the funny thing is you can use your sword in the 2D plane in the water, but not in the 3D, in the top over. Oh, that's funny. That's probably the hardest one. Gotta absolutely collect all those things. You know, oddly enough, I took the longest way to get here. Oops, wrong button. I hit the capture button. So now, I do believe I know exactly the next step, and it is to kick the boss's butt. Places me about there. You push that out of the way, and now, well, you can get out. Which is why. A is boost. Important to remember. So, a little quick over. I have Crazy Tracy's Secret Medicine, and I have a fairy. Interestingly enough, I think... No, you can't. Also, FYI, if you are a master at running, you're the master of running and flipping, you can actually jump from that lower ledge onto this upper ledge and bypass a chunk of the dungeon. But you have to be really good at it, you know? You have to get that. You have to get that. You have to get that diagonal run going pretty quickly from the hard side. This is probably like. There's nothing over here. See, in the original, bloop bloop, glub glub, oogie good food, gloop, glub. Anglerfish. The anglerfish would float up and down on one would float up and down on one side, and on a still dirt easy, but he would float up and down the right hand side of the screen, and you could take him out like nothing, but if you take a long time, he then would transition to the other side of the screen and move up and down, and occasionally would summon fish, but that was rare. If you were super fast and you saw him float up and down this side of the screen in the original one, and you could strike his little antenna super fast, you basically have the fight won in a matter of seconds. You can pretty much do the same thing in this one. You just have that inconvenience of him moving, being more complexly, you know. Now, seeing as I now have the flippers, I can go talk to the mermaid, and I could also travel around more freely and get into the more water areas. So that's pretty cool. And now I have the surf harp. Ain't that nice? I'm no longer trapped by water or blocked by it. The bay. Okay, that's the next dungeon. The bay. Your road goes into the bay. Which means that would be the next dungeon. And then the next dungeon after that would be the face dungeon. And Manbo? Yes. They changed up some things here. Well, okay. Oh, general rule is dive. Little secret shell hidden right there under the water. What's this? Oh, I know what to do. On a heart piece, I got this pink ghost here. First and foremost, when I get out of the water, he's gonna start talking to me, and if I remember correctly, he wants to go down to the, you know, that that really old, really, I mean, like really, take me to the house. Yes, house at the bay. He wants to go to the house at the bay. I'm just goofy and I want to double check a few things. Because I'm the kind of person that wants to go look around whenever I get a new ability. Can't cross over to that side because of the bridge made by the monkeys. Yucca Plains. And now I have another heart. Yeah, I walked into that one. Oop, wrong button. Wrong button. I'm gonna die. Enter my house. And then he's gonna tell me where his tombstone is, and he wants to go to his tombstone. Nostalgia unchanged. Hoo hoo. He wants to go to his grave now. Actually, fun thing about with the ability to swim now, you can bypass a lot of conveniently enough, this is directly under the graveyard. Just double checking. Already got the stuff in here. His grave is actually over here. Or her grave. Gives me an extra jar. And then now the owl comes by and says, "Hoot, hoot, I'm going to peck your face off and eat it." But I'm going to have to cut off on this video right in this area. Hoot, it has been some time since our paths crossed, lad. You must dive into the waters of Martha's Bay to enter the Catfish Maw. Closer you get to the red windfish, the more relentless he sleeps. He is to carry onward. Hoot, hoot. So, there we go. See you next video.